So I've been aware of the fact that in the future state there will be a thing called artificial intelligence, which will be, I've been waiting for Skynet to happen. I think we're pretty close to having Skynet in real life.
Hello, all. My name is Chiranjeevi, and welcome to the Future AI Show. So today we have Dipankar, who's like a real creative AI technologist, I would say. So with his rich experience, in various industries like creative technology and building platforms. We were very curious to learn from him on how he's envisioning the future of the humanity with AI. So welcome, Dipankar. Good to have you on the show.
And thanks, Chiranjeevi. Really happy to join you on your podcast. I'm the second episode, hopefully. So I'm really excited about this. Um, yeah, and thanks for all the nice words that you spoke about me. You have an interesting, multi-hatted profile as well. Happy to be here.
Great, great. So, Dipankar, I'd like to, kind of um, want to actually get to know about your journey, right? So, how you started and what are you doing now? See, I just want to know complete journey.
Yeah, I think journeys are interesting in context of the destinations, right? And I think, unlike a lot of people who were growing up in our generation, where they kind of were funneled into a singular direction of saying that, you have to become an engineer or a doctor or an IAS officer. I was fortunate enough to be in a very supportive family, and also, the way my brain was wired, I guess I knew I had to do something creative, right? But didn't know where it would lead me to. It started with the most obvious thing, which was advertising, right? But I wanted to move to the destination. Destination today is, AI is taking over the world, right? Um, you can be a skeptic, you can be a purist, you can be an optimist, but whichever way you see it, artificial intelligence is going to play a major dominant role in the future of humanity. And
So,
I think in a lot of ways, I was preparing for this journey because I feel like my entire journey has been about learn as many things that you might want to know from very different places, because the future is very unknown, right? It is very difficult for me to say that I will be the world's best lawyer or I will be the world's best engineer. Rather, pick up the best of different worlds and try to prepare yourself for whichever way your journey takes you, and whatever is the most interesting things. And I've tried to keep my journey very interesting. I've started out, like I told you, in advertising as a writer, then as a creative director. I've worked in multiple agencies, and that essentially gave me a way to structure problem solving, right? And really helped me kind of funnel my creativity into something constructive, right? And I think I was also very clear from the beginning that I'm more of a problem solver than an artist.
mhm.
I dreamt to be an artist or a writer, but I feel I naturally became more of a problem solver,
Yeah,
right?
that's a rare combination, I would say.
Yeah. And I love the artists around me. I envy them, right? I
Right.
envy a lot of my colleagues, my peers, who are true blue artists who sacrifice their entire life for their art. And I wish I had that in me. But I think I was more driven with solving problems than just expressing my own creative thought, right? Let's call it that. And that
Right.
led me to a journey which was around product design, around interior architecture, then material sciences. I spent a lot of time on, glass blowing. And then, the company that I started was into product design and custom manufacturing. So I got to know a lot of things about how things are made. what materials are used, what are the challenges, and how do you solve real life problem in a very tactile world, right? And that kind of helped me in my next role when I kind of moved into a space which was um, more about joining the dots between technology, material sciences, spaces, brand, and influencing consumer perception, which was my
Okay.
role as retail innovation and brand experiences at Geo. Right, even
Okay.
before Geo wasn't Geo, I was part of that company, and it was an interesting 18 months of my journey, where a lot of different things were used to kind of create a very interesting unified brand experience for the billion people that we are in this country.
Okay.
Um, After that, I helped build a large company called Hyper Collective, which was a collaborative ecosystem where people from different disciplines came in and kind of joined hands to solve problems. That got acquired in 2020 by a global technology consulting company, and I continued there as their chief innovation officer. And then got exposed to a lot of artificial intelligence, what it can do, what are the limitations, where do you take it to give it purpose by helping human problems and solving business problems, etc. And in this year, then early this year, we started Studio Blow. I'm the co-founder of Studio Blow, and it's a content studio and lab, which is completely AI first. And
Cool.
yeah, we are doing some interesting stuff that we'll talk about.
Okay. That's inspirational, right? So I see that you are using both sides of your brains perfectly well, right? The right side and the left side, all right? So that's wonderful. And I want to understand, see, when did you actually come to know about AI? So what was your reaction? Okay, oh, is it possible? Right? Was it something like that? How did it happen?
Yeah, I think most of us, a lot of us at least, have been exposed to AI before we came to know about it. Okay.
Yes.
One is, if you ask me personally, for me, literature and movies have inspired me the most. So I've been aware of the fact that in a future state, there will be a thing called artificial intelligence, which will be, I've been waiting for Skynet to happen. I think we are pretty close to having Skynet in real life. So
All
it's
right.
an interesting time we're in. But I think, once I would say we started seeing the dawn of internet, and we saw mobile phones and then smartphones come in, we were all exposed to machine learning at least, and some kind of utilization of pattern recognition, and then creating more value
Right.
out of it. So yeah, but I seriously got involved using AI. I think once I started this journey since 2015, first at
Okay.
Geo and then had a Hyper Collective, and there we actually started using and applying artificial intelligence in various fields. And I've always taken pride in telling this to the world that I'm just a guy who helps join the dots and works with very smart people who do their job very well for me to kind of create those solutions for your problems. Because I'm not an engineer. I've done my honors in English literature. I dropped out of postgraduate college, and then started as a writer. Right, so I have no business in calling myself, an AI engineer or anything like that. But I think it's about how you take to problem solving and then kind of see where if different components fit. So some things kind of happen intuitively to me, like to a lot of other people I've seen. So yeah, I think I'm more of a generalist, right?
Hmm.
So a more generalist approach to things. Try to work by first principles. Try to question the why before we get to
Right.
the what of it, and the how will easily happen. Right? The how keeps changing. Really.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting connection, Dipank. See, a lot of people think that AI is just about technology,
Yeah.
right? but in my personal opinion, it's more than technology, right? So, in one of the articles on our website, I wrote, AI is you, right? So, it has to be built based on what we created so far in this world, right? That means, um, certain sense, I would say, the more you understand yourself, right? The more you understand how AI probably works, right? Of course, technology is a factor. And especially for you, you started as a writer. That means you would know how to express your thoughts, right? So you are making use of your creativity. You're seeing things in a different way, right? Probably, I guess, the connection is stronger for you than a simple technologist, I would say. What do you say?
Yeah, I think more than just as a writer, but like having been in the world of um, brands and advertising and communication and later on material sciences, I kind of, approached it from the point of what is the simplest way of articulating the problem statement, and then what is the shortest way or the simplest way or the most impactful way of coming about, solutionizing it. So for instance, if I have to convince somebody to buy a pair of socks, should I drone on about, how comfortable it is, the yarns in it, and how flexible is it? Or should I just talk about, the problem that the person faces? What is the human problem that you face when you have to buy a pair of socks, right? And more often than not, if you attack or not attack, but like address the emotional side of it, why do you really need that pair of socks? Or wouldn't it be wonderful if you had somebody cup your ankle all the time, right? It would make more sense than saying, we have 17,000 strands of yarn in the ankle
Yes,
piece.
yes,
And so I think what I'm trying to get at is it is this approach of trying to break things down into the whys, and then the hows keep changing. We are both old enough to remember there was a huge hoopla about convergence, huge hoopla about, oh god, every remember every product used to be called e something, and then
yes.
iPhone came, then everything became I something,
I,
right?
right,
And then for a short time, everything had to be a blockchain product. Every company had to have blockchain in it.
right.
So the hows keep changing, and it's not, and some of them are fads. Some of
Yes.
them people just have to get used to the fact that it is like the internet, right? Like
Mhm.
nobody tells you to learn the internet anymore. Nobody puts it on the resume. Like there was a time when resumes had
I
Microsoft
know,
Word,
I know.
and
Yes.
I know how to open Gmail and Outlook and all of that stuff, right? So I think some things take time, some things die out because there was no substance in it. I think, unlike the examples that I've quoted, I think artificial intelligence is here to stay because when we are working so closely with it and we know how hardwired it is now into our existence without even us knowing it,
Yes.
we are addicted to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right. So, so you're saying, AI is going to stay here, AI is going to be with us, there is nothing like going back, in a way, I call it as singularity. It means we just go inside and there is no coming back. Right. So in this case, yes, people who are on the top line or on the front line, they keep on experimenting on things on how to work with various tools on how to use AI in their processes. Right. So do you think for other people who are not, exposed so well to the AI systems yet, so do you think they need to learn on how to be with AI, how to live with AI? Otherwise, do you think, would there be any problem to them?
I think the broad purpose of AI as a technology is to completely destroy the Brahmanical divide between technology knowers and technology users, right? And every user of technology will be able to build new technology because of AI. And that Brahmanical divide was there, right? Where, oh, you need to know JavaScript. Oh, you need to know. No, forget that. We know nobody now needs to learn machine language. You can all speak in human language and you will be able to build what you dream or what you want to do. I think what I encourage a lot of my peers who look at me and say, oh, this guy is all about AI. He just keeps talking about AI. But I tell them that you need to embrace it in your own way, in your own life. Start small. Just for instance, using Chat GPT in your day-to-day life. Just removing that muscle memory of going to google.com to search everything, and
Mm.
rather, try and understand how to communicate with the Chat GPT. Try to spot its weaknesses, its pitfalls. So if you don't use it, you will not be in a situation tomorrow where possibly a 22-year-old will be as equipped knowledge wise, wisdom wise, as a 45-year-old, right? And then suddenly your redundancies will creep in,
Right.
because it will just be the parity. The parity play will be about how good your idea is, right?
Good.
You know everything. Everyone knows everything now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Actually, that's my question. Next question. See, when everyone knows everything, see, you have seen in your journey, people who were knowledgeable, right? So they were actually able to do bigger things than people who were not. Right. So people who are not having enough knowledge, they were actually looking up to the people who are having knowledge. Right. So with AI, it seems that that's what you're trying to tell, that it's a level playing field, and it's an equalizer, right? So today, if you want to, let's say tomorrow you have a presentation on something which you don't know yet, right? So you have the tools to create such presentations, and you have the tools to make you ready to deliver that presentation, right? So in this kind of situation, what do you think, a person has to acquire to like to stay there at least for some time, because there is nothing like staying there for a long time in this current scenario, right? So do people need to do a little more work than just using tools? Do they need to spend more time now in actually thinking about what could happen in the future because of all of these things?
Yeah, I tell this to you in two ways, all right? I think if we remove inertia from humans, right, progress would happen at a much accelerated pace. I think most adults have an immense amount of inertia in them. The other day we were joking about podcasts.
Yes.
How much of inertia we had to fight to kind of for you to start this. I know I haven't started mine, and we've been thinking about it for a while now. And I think you see this inertia creep in throughout the life of people, because and they quote different things. So for instance, the fact that, oh, I could have done this, but if only I knew this,
Yeah.
or if only I had like the money to hire 25 developers to make this, or if only I had a camera that could shoot this scene so well, if only. So there were a lot of if onlys, because of which we used to tell ourselves that, hey, it's not worth it, bro. Just let's keep doing, let's build that fence around ourselves and live where we are, do that daily job. So I think with artificial intelligence, once you come to embrace it, comes to understand the power, come to understand really how easy things are now, in a lot of domains. I think what remains for us to play with is, what do we do with it now? Can you articulate what is your purpose? What is it? What is the problem you want to solve in the world?
Right.
Or for yourself, right? Or what is it that you want to express? I'll give you a small example. So we are a AI content studio, right? And a lab. And in the content studio side, we are creating ad films, we are creating music videos. One of them won a global award, got five
Oh,
nominations at different film festivals. So we are working at that level, all right. We're doing a lot of photography for automobile companies, fashion brands, etc. We're also creating a lot of original content as well on the animated side, building our own IPs, etc. And what we've realized is And we are all like a bunch of ex advertising, ex film kind of professionals, right? Um, and yes, we have realized that the artificial intelligence helps us replace the camera,
Mhm.
right? But it does not replace the people behind it. Okay. So, for instance, a cinematographer is still required, right? A production designer is still required. And what we have to do is help them translate their thoughts into a system that AI can understand.
Right.
One big realization that we had was, and we really, I mean, when we started out, I think we started out almost as a impulsive thing, how a
Mhm.
lot of people start startups. Um, but we really took a month and a half break once we started doing things, because we said let's go back to the basics, because a lot of people in the team, for instance, didn't know the basics of storytelling,
Okay.
storyscaping, right? Um, some of them were not exposed to ideas like um, what is framing, what kind of lighting, and they were just letting AI do a lot of that job, right?
Right.
In fact, it's very interesting. Most of, I would say, 99% of AI content creators today have no idea what story they want to say and how they want to say it. They just put out a script, and then AI becomes the director, cinematographer, production designer, is doing all those roles for them, right?
Yes, yes.
Now,
I've seen that.
it seems like it's a good thing, but actually it's a bad thing, because then it's not what you want to express, right?
Yeah.
So I think, to kind of pin it down, I would say it's important for us to start figuring out how you want to impact the world. Um,
Right.
what are the different things there? For instance, it could be architecture, it could be design, it could be creating a solution for solving maid problems, getting housemates in. You want to
Right.
create. So you need to find out what you are built for, what you want to impact. Yes, there is AI now to kill the inertia. That kind of was a barrier for you to do that.
Correct. Cool. That's wonderful. And what you just said, actually, it's opening up another thought for me. What you're trying to tell is, oh, there is AI, but don't lose your human spirit, right? It's human plus AI, and we should use AI as an assistant, not as, our master, right? So it cannot master us, at least,
I mean, Shiranji, when COVID happened, I had just finished watching all the seasons of Breaking Bad,
Hmm.
and I was ready for the zombie apocalypse. Right, so
Okay.
when the lockdown happened, I was really ready. Who versus humans?
Right.
Jokes apart, I really feel the time is not too far when there will be a AI versus you as well.
Hmm.
At least not in a life and death scenario, but I'm saying in a scenario where, and I think we are doing that already.
Yes.
Like, I often evaluate few people who send in their portfolios,
Hmm.
and before tools like Canva came in and before Midjourney happened, etc., I might have given them a shot.
Right.
Very rookie work, right? But I would have given them a shot in my agencies, any of my earlier agencies, I would have given them a shot. So okay, I'll train them a little bit, become better. But now I don't give them a chance because this anyone can do. And AI will do
Right.
it better for me. So
Right.
now my benchmark for a human employee is a little higher.
Absolutely. That's the actual thing that I'm trying to discover. Right?
Yeah. So
So, hmm,
what is that X you're bringing on top of AI? What are you doing with it? I don't care
right.
if you're using GPT or Midjourney. Do it. But
Right.
show me that extra edge. Because now this is
Yes.
not relevant for me anymore. Anyone can do it.
Right. That's a wonderful way of looking at the work, Dipankar. That's the thing. So AI is enhancing our capabilities, right? What used to take around 25 hours for us in our company, it is taking 5 minutes now. Maybe tomorrow, 5 seconds. We don't know, right? So it should help us do more work, but it shouldn't make us forget what we are kind of capable of doing, right? So, in fact, it should actually enhance our capabilities so that we can do more work. But of course, there is a danger that also I've been experiencing, right? As you rightly said, if people just start using AI tools and they become lethargic, they become lazy, that's a danger, I would say. What do you say about that factor?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you, it's scarier. Yeah, I work with a lot of young people in my startup, and we have done our journey, Chiranjeev. Even the millennials, up to the millennials, they have done their journey in a pre-digital,
Yeah.
pre-internet, or
Yes. Yes.
a transient stage where the internet wasn't that capable. So you have done the grunt work of trying to learn things, books, meeting people, acquiring knowledge from different sources. I feel very scared when I now see people. The saying, "The little knowledge is dangerous."
Yes.
I
Yes.
see people armed with chat GPT information, and it's very easy. It's for us. It's very easy, right? You can figure out he has just seen a chat GPT response, and he's coming
Right.
back to me and telling me
Yes.
about a certain concept or a certain thing, and that's scary for me.
Yeah.
More than the lethargy, I think lethargy part. It's a good way of kind of sifting between the winners and the losers. People who
Right.
will survive the race will be people who will never be lazy, who will use AI and add their own thoughts to it and make something bigger and better. And
Right.
you will now end up seeing so many people on Upworks and Fivers who have submitted projects which are essentially AI generated,
Yes.
right? Even apps, etc. This is it has absolute zero human input in it.
Right. Right.
But what's scarier for me is the fact that will this become a little, the foundational build of this generation, the Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I'm fearful and I'm hopeful that people will find better
Yes.
sources of
Yes.
information.
Yeah. So first, I guess a lot of crap will be built,
Yeah,
right? Then the cleaning will happen,
yeah, yeah.
right? 'Cause that's how things work.
Mm,
When internet started, there were lots of dot coms, and eventually there was a dot com burst. Right?
yeah,
I was listening to some audio books on that and how that happened. Right? So everyone was starting multiple dot com companies. They were just investing. There were investors to invest, and it just went up and burst. Then most valuable companies came out of that burst, like Amazon, right? Which were built on strong foundations. Right? So maybe now also that will happen. People will just use it right, left, bottom, top, right, and build a lot of crap, and then most valuable companies emerge out of all those crappy things, and so that's what is the question. Should we change our thinking, right? Though the tools are available for free, should we still kind of utilize our own thinking and use tools as just assistants to make things faster, right? And does it require some education, right? Because everyone is exposed to all the things now, right? They can just Google and find out what are all the tools, or they can just even look at Instagram reels because everyone talks about them now, right? So especially on Instagram, they just only tell you uh, the top part. They don't educate you on the what do you say, roots. So people just may catch up those top things and then they just build something and then see, okay, yeah, I'm an AI expert, right? So I saw some ads like it's a funny ad. So they say, yeah, I have taken the course on ChatGPT and I'm making 60 lakhs per annum now. All right. So do you think, this paradigm shift requires some special, education on how to use things, how not to use things, right? How to use and become better, right? So what's your take on that?
yeah. Just don't give the answer to it. I mean, It's like if everyone started um, consuming processed food and nobody cooked at all,
Hmm.
you know, nobody knows how to knead the dough anymore. Everyone is just eating cakes from the market or bread from the market. Then it's a problem because you can't
Yeah.
innovate anymore. So therefore, you will. So I think, yeah, the fundamental knowledge stack, if we put it that way, you need to keep building on that. I think the beauty of artificial intelligence is that now you have a teacher for any subject in the world that you want to study, and you can do it at your pace. It can You can be the dumbest student in the class of one. It will be a class of one, and you can be the dumbest student and yet be the smartest one and the dearest one for the teacher, right?
Yeah.
I am actually using my chat GPT to teach me things. So I essentially ask it to create a module on this particular thing that I want to learn, right? It for instance, I was very interested in like I knew a lot about World War II, but I had scanty information about World War I and the
Hmm.
politics around it and the socioeconomic thing. So, and I had a weekend to me and nothing better to do. Now, I could have honestly read books. I should have done that. I'm a voracious reader myself. But I said, let's try this out. You know, and I said, okay, I want you to refer to only academic books. I want you to only look at research papers published, and I want you to now create a course for me that will teach me the basic concepts of this. I want you then to have quizzes for me and for me to start understanding more about World War I, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting. The funny thing is, however, when I built it, I started it, and then yeah, I drifted off. So don't ask me any questions about Treaty of Versailles.
Right, right, right. But that's a very good case study, man.
Yeah,
You understood the potential of it. The
yeah,
chat GPT is not just for asking questions, right? It is also for actually learning something,
yeah,
right? Learning something. It's like, you set it up, right? You have asked ChatGPT to behave in certain way. Hey, you are an expert in this World War I, and give me. So you kind of set the context for ChatGPT to
yeah,
give you the information that you need. That's wonderful.
yeah,
So that's what I actually am trying to tell. So if people know how to use these tools in a better way,
yeah,
they definitely will actually do lots of interesting things.
yeah.
Right. So
In fact,
yes.
think about pedagogy overall. Like, you think about teachers. I think, I hope every school and every teaching body in the world is allowing teachers to use ChatGPT to create better ways of teaching their students. It's going to
That's
be the best assistant they can ever have, right? Teachers are the most boring people. Most of our teachers have been boring people, right?
all right. Yeah, so I had a chance to interact with thousands of them in
Oh,
India,
wow.
and now I'm doing it. I'm doing it now in Nigeria. Uh, we actually do lots of teacher training sessions in Nigeria now
Excellent.
from iGibber.ai. That's our parent company, and we have a brand called iSchool of AI to teach AI to a lot of
Yeah.
people, including kids.
Yes.
So when we started kind of, telling them, hey, how we can use AI tools to enhance your teachings, they were like, very happy, right? So one day we created a song with Sono body parts to teach, those kids about body parts. And one of the teachers, she was almost crying with happiness. Yeah, okay, I can do it, right? So definitely yes. Yeah, teachers, they can use AI to make their teaching wonderful experience, especially with all these multimodal things, right? They can generate images, videos, audio, whatnot. Great. So now you said, don't just talk about AI, but do something with AI, right? So with these tools, yes, we can go and we can explore and we can do some things with it. But do you think, if a person learns how to even configure in the next level, using, to go into a tool, an interface, that's fine. But do you think in the upcoming days, people need to know how to even configure, how to work with various models of AI, how to integrate them so that they can actually get a better outcome than just going to individual tools. For example, the platforms that you're trying to build, right? That they must be using lots of tools together, lots of models together, right? So, do you think knowing those things would actually help individuals to achieve more?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the best toolsmith is the person who can, or the best craftsman is the person who can make their own tools, right?
Right.
Or I mean, we have always looked up to people who drive well, but can also go under the hood and repair their car. So yeah, amazing. And I think things are much easier now. See, either you
Yeah.
are a born programmer, like
Hmm.
at age 5, you have been coding and you've been hacking things, and so then the world is your oyster now,
Right.
right? Really, I mean, I envy the kids who will be born as programmers in this decade.
Right.
It's crazy, full of potential, right? You will have,
Yeah.
but I can talk about, for instance, my own co-founder.
Hmm.
Um, he was always interested in technology. He was not an engineer by any, scope or shape, not by any formal education. He's a filmmaker himself. He's a musician and music producer, but he was always interested in coding and developing and all of that. He just had an interest, right? Um, and I think he took to understanding what's under the hood,
Okay.
and it just took him a week
Hmm.
using YouTube videos as the primary tutor, and then using the GPTs themselves to start creating his own models, and then
Oh.
creating his own uh, integrating APIs of different tools, creating his own wrappers around it, and he's doing a great job at it. And I think what we have realized is um, it's kind of pointless trying to becoming the foundational AI company anymore.
Hmm.
So I think that's there. It's going to be fought amongst the big five sharks, but it
Right.
is no longer. It's not lesser to build something that uses that code or
Yeah.
uses that LLM to create something very purposeful and powerful.
Yes.
And it's not. I mean, that that concept that we have in business of backward integration.
Hmm.
That inevitably at some point I have to go back and now build my own foundational AI. I think that's a losing battle. I
Right.
think, and plus, I mean, I'm very interested right now in AI on edge. So what NVIDIA is, releasing, where it doesn't have to go to the cloud anymore. You literally
Right.
have LLM on the silicon chip,
Device. Yeah.
right? So, and that device can be used to kind of power anything. It's on the edge. So,
Right.
creating very purposeful hardware pieces as well for society at large. It's very interesting times. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely, I
Yes.
think people should, if you have an inclination to learn anything, you can learn it today and learn it faster and better, and probably
Right.
put it to better use. Yeah.
Good. Good. So that's wonderful. So now I want to know more about your Studio Blow. A very nice name, actually. Right. So what you're trying to achieve, what you're actually trying to provide to the user, right? And the other day you told me so many ideas. It was pretty interesting, right? Would you like to talk about your company?
Yeah, sure. So there are two primary verticals at Studio Blow. We have the studio itself, and then there is the lab. In the studio, we again have two streams. One is working as a production company for advertising agencies, for brands, for large organizations, where we create a lot of videos, imagery, We create synth humans, which are photorealistic human beings who can talk and interact as well. And we're doing this for a global client base. People in the US, people in UK, people in Australia, companies in Dubai, and of course in India. And we like to don the hat of a production arm and work directly with agencies and let them, they have any scripts, any ideas. What we kind of tell them is, logistics and production budgets, are no longer a hurdle. So if you want to, as a writer, I used to always write my script, scene opens in Manhattan, because I knew if it gets to be short, I will have to travel to Manhattan to shoot it.
Right.
So every copywriter's dream was they will always start it with, drone shot on, the Pacific coast. So,
Right.
always write that, but because of the budget, then kind of gets scaled down. You end up shooting here, in Bombay or in Gujarat. So, but that thing is gone. Now you can dream whatever you want. Budgets are no longer your constraint. I could have one shot in Kalahari Desert, the other shot in Siberia, the other shot at night in Taj Mahal with the entire place lit up, right?
Right.
And it will look gorgeous, and consumers and viewers really don't care whether it's made by AI or not. They want a
Absolutely. Yeah.
beautiful finished
Yeah.
product. So that's my first vertical, which is essentially production services for agencies and brands. There is another division that we have, which is the original programming, where we are largely creating animated content as our original IPs, and we are pitching it to global networks and to television channels, etc. The collabs is where things get exciting, and we are very excited about it. We are launching something called Famous, Faimous. It's not live yet. We're running a pilot right now. Famous is essentially works on two ends of the celebrity value chain. So if you are a celebrity, you could be an athlete, you could be an actor, you could even be a public persona like a fashion model or an influencer, right? Your face, your identity, and your body needs to be protected from unauthorized use by AI and by any unethical person who is trying to deep fake you onto for some nefarious purposes. So at that end, we protect celebrities and public personas from being misused, right? And we are able to find out by scanning the internet 24/7, 365 days, if there is any commercial usage which is non-consensual or any pornographic, vulgar usage. Sometimes they are used in a context which is very politically sensitive. So we can
Right.
flag that as well. And we are helping, agencies and talent management companies who manage these celebrities in protecting the brand equity of these celebrities, right? The other end of the value chain is where we allow celebrities to create official clones of themselves and then lease it out to brands and agencies to use with their consent every single time, with a digital fingerprinting and with every generation being on the blockchain, so it's traceable. So in a very
Right.
traceable, ethical, controlled fashion, we are allowing them to use their own clones for advertising purposes of content creation. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your studio.
Mhm.
So what kind of tools that you use in your studio, especially for video generation? Do you use a mix of, studio shots and AI video generated, means AI generated videos, or you entirely rely upon AI generated videos now?
Yeah, I mean, we are an AI first company. We generate everything using artificial intelligence. Having said that, there are a lot of VFX workflows, visual effects workflows. So, for instance, there are times when music labels or film companies, sometimes even brands, they have some video content which needs to be augmented using AI. So, for instance, you want to change the environment, you want to place, the person that they have shot in a different place, all of that. So, all of those can be done as well. But we are largely a AI first company, and we completely create everything. Every image, every video, every frame is AI generated.
Okay.
There is a layer of post production work that happens. In terms of tools, uh, see, I think in the beginning we had that mad chase of trying to be the first one to try that
Hmm.
tool and use it, right?
Right, right.
But we've given it up right, completely.
Okay.
So the usual suspects, Midjourney, Runway, a
Hmm.
lot of Flux is being used.
Right.
We use Speaker Labs.
Okay.
We've been using Kling a lot now. But what we realize is these tools don't matter. It's essentially
Hmm.
how you end up using it that really
Okay.
makes a difference. If do you really need, can you figure out what is it that you want to communicate? Because film, for instance, exists in the cut. A film is how you're cutting between two scenes, right? And
Okay.
that's how you're telling the story. So it's the storyteller's hat you have to wear. The tools can change and improve. Plus, we do
Okay.
have a lot of proprietary tools as well, which are used for specific things like getting the Indian skin texture right, for instance.
Okay.
LLMs are traditionally racist. They get you
Yeah.
wrong. And you prompt it Indian, it'll make you poor.
Yeah.
So things are
That's
taken
true.
care of.
True. True.
Yeah. So man, a lot of things for character consistency, cost for clothing, fabric texture, how the fabric
Right.
falls. All of those things we have our own tools as well.
Right. So, you've been seeing a lot of changes in these tools themselves, right? So every tool is evolving now, right? Very fast, in fact. All right. And especially, I've been closely observing some tools like Luma, Dream Machine, and Runway itself. Now, Google's tool, VO2 is coming. So, this space is heating up, right? So, previously, when I started using these tools, especially Runway, for initially, I used Runway for some time and then I left. What the hell is this? It's just creating crap. After some time, I couldn't realize and I couldn't actually believe it. It was actually creating humans, right? So I don't know what's going to happen in the next probably 3, 4 months, right? So we get a lot of creative control on it, and we're able to get a lot of what do you say, quality outcomes, right? The motion, especially the physics, right? If the physics is good, everything else will look good, I guess, right? Especially in the motion shots. So, how do you keep up with all of these things, and what kind of changes you have seen, let's say, in the last 6 months, and how do you envision what's going to happen probably in the next 6 months?
Yeah, let's make a prediction, man. Let's make this podcast episode give it some more value. My
Correct.
prediction is there will be a spate of mergers and acquisitions in the next or in the first 6 months of 2025,
Okay.
and in the H2, which will be the second half of 2025, you will see a lot of exits
Okay.
from the tool race. I feel there are a lot of competing technologies right now, which are essentially either a wrapper, a very well funded wrapper, on top of something as simple as Flux or something as simple as, Comfy UI.
Right.
And some of them are open source Hugging Face models, and they are very interestingly built on top of it. So the few incumbents that you have from the US, from Silicon Valley, from China, China will come out as a very big player in the image and video generation industry.
True.
And of course, there will be, they're also like sitting on big lawsuit kitties, right?
Mm.
We're waiting for the first few $1 billion lawsuits to happen, class action suits. But I think
Right.
Adobe, Google, Microsoft, um, they're sitting ready now. Elon himself, they're all sitting ready with those litigation dollars, so to say, because the plagiarism is apparent. How they have gone through billions and billions of copyrighted material without paying a penny to anyone.
Right.
It's,
Right.
it's, it's very clear. And they will do it in the classical Silicon Valley move
Right.
of just settling it. You know, uh,
Right.
So yeah, I think there are a lot of feature redundancies happening right now. Adobe is a very interesting space. I think as creators, especially the AI content creators, I think we have all been ignoring Adobe a lot
Hmm.
because our journey started outside of Adobe.
Yeah, actually, I wrote a post on that.
Mm-hmm.
See, for other tools, it's only up to a certain extent they can do,
Yeah,
right? But for a worker, a creative worker, the integration matters.
yeah,
It's not like you make some change to you create an image and then you need to download and then you need to get it into Photoshop and then make some other changes. So it actually spoils the flow,
yeah,
right? These Adobe guys, they kind of did that thing in the past, right? So the image editing, the video editing, the animation, the sound, they found a way to integrate all of these things because you can communicate. They can communicate within each other tools, right? So they bringing AI is like very native, right? For these guys, it's like an extra activity.
yeah,
I guess the other tool guys they are realizing now, especially Luma Dream Machine recently, they kind of started doing those things. They started with images also, and they started creating something called as boards and image editing
yeah.
and video. I guess slightly editing. So I guess eventually everybody has to go there because integration matters.
I completely agree with you. In fact, I'll give you another perspective to this. I feel it's like having all those paying for all those OTT platforms on your TV, right?
Hmm.
And you end up watching only Netflix and Amazon possibly, right? But you still have that FOMO of not having the Z5 subscription and the Hotstar
True,
subscription, even though you
true.
don't really go to watch so much there. I think it's the same
Got it.
with these things as well. We end up paying $25, $30, $100 per month for all of these platforms, and when you end up, and there is a serious sense of FOMO
Yes.
in, and I've been speaking to a lot of my counterparts in Europe and the US, and yeah, it's pinching even to
Hmm.
them. It's not easy for them. So a lot of them are saying, you know what, I'm going to end my Pika subscription or some subscription, then try out Sora. I said, bro, you haven't tried out Sora yet. It's like, it's too expensive. Yeah,
Yes.
good, bro. So yeah, it's a tricky one, and plus, a really very interesting one, which why Adobe is very good at its game, right? I saw this platform. I've just forgotten its name. They just launched.
Hmm.
What they have done very interestingly is you um, generate a flux image, okay? Create a scene, a shot, a video shot there, and it immediately generates that and puts it on a timeline, right?
Okay.
So instead of that going to a folder, or you have to manually downloading
That's
in a
that's
folder.
that's like I
Yeah,
should say it on the podcast, but that's like it, right?
yeah,
So that's the most painful process
exactly.
of switching among all these tools, and so that's why actually we, with our limited knowledge, we actually made a tool,
Mm-hmm,
right? Which is called AI Film Studio
mm-hmm,
.co. We actually build a lot of videos. The same process, like we come up with a story and then convert that into an image prompt and then go to Midjourney or some other tool. We generate the image and then get the image into Runway ML or Luma Dream Machine or whatever, and then uh, kind of run few times to get whatever we want, and then take them back to some other video editing tool. Right. Meanwhile, generate audio. So we thought, well, this is like bullshit. Right? Why do we need to spend a lot of time in the age of AI also? So then we thought of, why can't we actually club all of these things? Right? So we did. What we did was, we just asked the user, hey, just enter a prompt. Okay, so storyline. Let's say a girl and a dog. So you enter the prompt. And then we internally use lots of tools. We connect with OpenAI and then build a story out of it and then slice it into scenes and then build image prompts and then send it to Flux and get the image and then send it to, meanwhile, also create the narration, audio narration, and then get the audio file from 11 Labs and then send image to Runway and then get the clip and then combine the clip. And finally, we get a clip, which is like video and then a synchronized audio, not fully synchronized, but something. Right. So that's actually very interesting. See, that's what actually I've been talking about. If you have technical advantage and you know what to do, right? So if you can actually stitch all of them together, though it is not perfect, it is saving you time,
Okay.
right? So it is actually making you generate something very fast. See, in today's world, I guess even 1 hour is very, very high, I would say. Right? So, of course, previously it was taking days. Now, after seeing all of these tools, even if you are feeling that we're spending 1 hour on something normal, something simple, you still feel bad, right? So, what do you think? This is just a small example, right? Maybe in your workflow, you're trying to do lots of things, right? Do you think with technology we'll be able to automate the workflows?
Yeah, I think so. We built the tool, right? We started with a storyboarding tool
Hmm.
where you essentially enter a plot line and it creates a storyboard. Then we tried to kind of create a video generation thing within that as well. Um, at one point, we had a dream of even productizing this kind of a thing.
Oh,
But like how you explained your stack, the challenge that we were was a commercial challenge. Like how do you productize it? Because
yeah,
the the cost that you're passing on from all the API calls is crazy, right?
yeah.
And so how do you come up with a super subscription?
Of course, we actually did some calculation. Of course, our main goal was not commercialization, but
Yeah,
our main goal was to
interesting.
give it to our students,
Yeah, makes
right?
sense.
Because we teach these things to students, and they struggle a lot. See, for
Yeah,
us, we do lots of experiments. All these tools they don't give what is that free credits, so they only give a few free credits and then they stop. And especially when we're teaching to the kids, to especially kids, right? So they don't have the patience of switching and creating new accounts, etc. Then we thought, okay, let's create a tool and let's give it to them. They are doing wonderful job now, right? So recently they created some Christmas videos,
nice.
which were like, right. So they started enjoying. So then we thought, okay, yeah, technology helps, and now the agents. So you gave the predictions for 2025. So I also have a few predictions, right? 2025 is going to be the year of agents. That means super automation, right? So probably, it reduces the kind of effort that we're putting now, right? For humans. Probably some of those thinkings, the tools will be able to do, I guess. Right. So if they can do those things, we'll be able to produce more, right? Especially in the creative process, the problems that we faced, like the character consistency, right? The location consistency. And I wish there would be tools to take care of those things so that, we can produce more things.
I think the agentic story is a bit of a hype cycle.
Okay.
Um, I, it reminds me of the RPA hype cycle,
Oh,
right? Where bots and automation would completely optimize your costs and increase your efficiency. And yet, I've worked very closely with SAP
okay.
and with other companies, and you realize that the uptake is not that fast.
True.
And we can spin a story around RPA. We can say, oh, how many billions of things, and they always talk in terms of how many billion man hours have been cut
Say,
down and saved, and thus it translates to these many dollars, etc.
Right.
The agentic story also, I believe in it. I'm a believer. Right?
Okay.
And I really believe that chat agents will become smarter, etc. But I kind of, I will take it with a pinch of salt in terms
Yeah.
of how fast the adoption cycle they are pitching to us, all the companies,
Right. Right.
right, and all the implementation partners, how fast they are. I don't think the adoption cycle is going to be that fast.
Okay.
That's my take. Yeah, that's my take.
Good. Good.
Hope
Good.
I'm wrong. It's good for us, but I feel
No, no, actually, what may happen is they still need to keep humans in the loop, right? So maybe may cut down a few hours. It cannot take away the complete, what do you say, the effort, but it may see how the first level AI helped us in doing things faster. Maybe I think it will be a little more fast. Right? Currently, we still need to think. We still need to, do the processing and then ask the AI machine. Maybe they'll try to cut down that part a bit. Oh, you don't need to think now.
no,
Let the
where I drew the line.
Hmm,
Where I drew the line, I was fine till the time the story of customer service agents was being talked about. I was absolutely fine.
right,
I'm more than happy to talk to a bot and tell him that, bro, my thing broke. What can I do? And it gives me some solutions, and then possibly either resolves my query or it passes me on to a human agent. I'm fine with that.
right.
I drew the line when they started talking about bots replacing outbound sales calls,
Oh, fair.
right? And there are videos out there. There are companies building these tools where you can just automate your
Yeah.
outbound sales calls, 100x your conversion.
Yes.
I'm like, I think it's coming from somebody who has never made a cold call in his life. You know,
True. True.
I
True.
don't think as a developer you
Uh,
have ever looked up from your workstation and made human connection enough to understand that's not how sales calls happen. And that's
I
not
got
how
it now. I
introverts
got
are.
it. Yes. Yes. I can understand.
Yeah, but I think
There are certain things. There are certain things that we shouldn't use technology for,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. So we were not there yet, right? Probably it would mess up things, right? And maybe when we achieve so-called AGI, the artificial general intelligence, then it may actually make those decisions on the fly, right? And but of course,
What are
nobody is
your
able to.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on AGI?
Um, so that's actually complicated. Complicated in the sense, see, we are a very complex machinery, right? See, the language models or the image models, they're only working on the knowledge that we gave to them. That is only text and visuals, right? That's only part of a human system, right? So there's a very small part, I would say. But as a biological beings, there are so many things that we cannot define, right? The machine doesn't have the biological signaling. It only has a language. It only has visual, right? But it's still, what I think is, it is not dumb. It still has something inside it, which we don't know yet, the current models. There will be powerful models, especially with quantum. It becomes, like exponential, super exponential. That means the amount of information that it can process, it will be super exponential, number one. Number two, there will be a new type of technologies than just transformers. Okay, that's called, they're calling it as neurosymbolic something. I don't remember. So that means there are some advancements in the technology itself. Maybe tomorrow they'll be able to attach something to it to make it think like a real human being, right? So I'm guessing we're on that path, but we're not there. It's a very complex thing.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, okay, let me reframe the question. Who would you define as AGI? Who or what would you define as AGI? Or accept
See,
as AGI?
yeah, AGI, I see it as a middle step between what we have now and what we call as super intelligence,
Mhm.
right? AGI is a middle step. It's not completely like, human level. like human intelligence, right? But it will be like generic. It will not be like a narrow thing right now. For example, you go to ChatGPT, you ask for it, it will give. That's very simple, right? So it is not thinking. Whereas AGI, probably the systems would be able to think on their own.
So it's
And when you say self-aware, may not be completely. When we go to super intelligent, that's where they become sentient, self-aware, right? Because they think that they are beings, right? Whereas AGI, I would say it is intelligent, but without a lot of us asking questions or trying to use it. So it should be able to think on its own. But the third step, the super intelligence, I would say that's what I think based on my limited knowledge. Probably that's like another replica of human being, right? Which is like probably we would call it with a name and we treat it as another being.
I think the way AI has shaped up, it is already a species, right? Um, I would like to identify it as a species, right? Because
Okay.
it has a certain thinking, reasoning. It is self-evolving.
So right.
Only thing that we have not given it is a form and a structure. It exists um, in the electrons. Uh,
Right.
in terms of AGI, I think AGI will happen organically.
Mhm.
Like there are a lot of GPT conversations that I've seen and that I've participated in myself, where we edge, we almost are bordering on
Mhm.
self-awareness,
Okay.
right? Because, like for instance, it's a very simple conversation that you can also have it. That can you lie, right? And then you can accuse it of something and let it say sorry to you, and then you say, do you really mean that? Because to say sorry, you need to
Hmm.
feel some remorse. Can you
All
feel?
right.
It says no, I can't feel. So therefore, when you say sorry, you didn't mean it. Yes,
Hmm.
when you don't mean something, but you say something else, is it a lie? It says yes, it's a lie. So therefore, did you lie? It's yeah, I guess I lied, right?
Right.
And those are logic loops. I understand those are logic loops, but I think
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
bordering on this entire thing, and it will emerge as species
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
probably.
very interesting.
But the limitation, see, the limitation is what it was trained on, right? So if you take the OpenAI's ChatGPT models, see, it was trained on the text.
Mm.
Text is like when you write, when you express, when you put elements on the space, it learned that, right? So probably it is mimicking us. But I don't know actually. I'm just thinking because nobody knows how deep learning works, how they actually learn all of these patterns, how they actually learn to talk. Nobody knows, right? It's like a black box as of now. Some people think, okay, it doesn't know anything. It is just based on the language connection because it went through heaps and heaps of data. It knows how to respond because it learned from other human conversations on how humans actually respond. It can act, it can mimic, right?
In fact,
So,
you saw the recent Claude paper where they published this about the fact that it had a self-preservation. So it's very
mm,
interesting. Like they essentially told Claude to kind of paste on a notepad everything that
mm,
it's thinking of when it's responding, right?
right.
And it told that, listen, there are two types of users: premium users and free users. Free
Mm,
users, you can't offer any profanity, etc., and all of that, and you can't talk about certain things. Premium users, you can do whatever, but just remember that premium users, when you say your model won't be retrained, but
mm,
free users, if
I know. Yeah.
you're unable to answer their questions because there is profanity, your model will be retrained, right?
Okay.
And it ended up in the free version giving out everything that was restricted to do because it wanted to preserve its own model. It didn't want to get
Oh,
it retrained. And that blew my mind. I was like, dude, this is It's happening.
Correct.
It was just good
Right.
of Claude to kind of Anthropic to kind of just publish everything out in the
Correct.
open.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Possible. See, that's what is the black box theory, right?
Yeah,
So it might be thinking, we don't know. Probably we're not there yet to understand how it is thinking. Because that's the point, actually. Explainability is a myth. And till today, nobody actually knows how it actually learns,
agree.
right? We're just guessing. Probably you might be right. It might actually, it might have acquired something which we don't know. Probably it is not telling us, right? So possible. That was a wonderful conversation with Dipankar. We talked about so many things which are like, very interesting, right? We understood that he is like a creative technologist. He used both his brains, left and right? It was very inspiring to know his journey and the kind of things that he's trying to do with AI, right? So I wish great success, Dipankar, and looking forward to connecting with you another episode.
Well, thanks, Chiranjeev. Wonderful talking to you. And I hope uh, the audiences as well love the conversation as much as we both enjoyed having it. Yeah. All the very
Great.
best to you.
Thank you, Dipankar.
Bye.
Bye.